In this lesson, we're going to take a look at fixing a scenario where you have two bevels that are converging into one. Alright, so if you look at our example here, now you can see that we have just a basic cube and kind of an arc shape up here. But you can see that they actually converge right here and then they go into a flat area. So this is going to be a little bit of an issue when Maya tries to bevel this. Let's go ahead and just do a bevel on it first and just see what it looks like. So we'll grab all of the edges that we want to hold shape on. Probably didn't need to do this side, but that's okay. We could split it down the middle and just do half of it, but that's alright, we'll just keep it as is. Alright, so we have all the edges that we want to contain, and notice in this example that I did add these in there as well. I could choose to do it like this, but it's really going to create a mess out of this bevel right here. So for this example, I'm going to go ahead and keep those selected in there. Alright, we'll go to Edit Mesh, we're going to dump a bevel on here. We'll do 2 for our segments. And maybe let's make it just a little bit bigger so we can see what we're doing. So we'll go about 0.7 on that. Alright, so it beveled everything nicely, but look what happens in this corner right here where the two bevels actually converge. Maya created a little bit of a mess for us right here, and it's very, very unusable geometry. So here's kind of my philosophy on modeling, and I pretty much approach every model this way. That I make sure that I have precisely the edges that I want, and I delete anything that I don't want. If it's not working, just get rid of it and get yourself out of the mess in the process. And so you'll kind of see that process in a minute here. All of these edges right here are just not working, and so I'm just going to select them all and I'm going to get rid of them. Now I can get rid of these because it's going from one point to another point, and this one's going from one point to another point. I don't want to delete these down in here. You want to make sure that you're only going from point to point. Otherwise you're going to lose the form. If I was to delete all of these as well, then this whole form is just going to flatten out. But when I delete these, I'm going to leave the points intact, so it won't really matter. So I'm going to hit delete, and this is what we're left with. I'm going to go ahead and go to Mesh Tools. I'm going to grab my multi-cut tool. Now what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to go from this point right down to this one, and then I'm going to go from this one over to that one. So that creates nice flow on those outside corners. And I knew those were going to be there, and that's why when I deleted all these, I didn't delete these edge ones, this one or this one. I kept those ones in there. So now we can just draw that. Now this one, what we're going to do is we're going to start here, and we're going to just come down here right in the middle, and I'm going to continue it up to there, and I'll hit enter, and then I'll go from this point all the way down there to that one. You can see that we have quad, quad, there's a quad there, there's a quad there, and we have a triangle there. We'll talk about that one in a little bit. But you can see that the geometry that we've made here is quite a bit better than what we had before. If we hit our 3 key, and let's turn wireframe unshaded off, you can see by our highlight right here that we did a fairly good job, except it converges right here. And for some reason we're getting a highlight that's coming all the way down here. So we've got that issue going on. And then we have that same issue that we talked about in the previous video where we have this geometry running all the way through our mesh right here. So let's try something a little bit different here. And let's go backwards to before we added those in there. And for this one, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete these outside edges. So now we just have one running through the surface right there. And then up here, rather than going to that point in the middle, we're going to split it off toward the middle of this rather than the middle of this one. So let's go in and we'll grab our multi-cut tool again. And this time we're going to take this edge all the way down to that one and then back to there. And then we are left with these two edges that we no longer need. So we'll do a Control Delete to delete those, plus the verts that were associated with them. And I'll go back into that tool. And this time we're going to take this one right down to the middle here. And again, I'm just watching my parallel lines right here. I'll hit Enter, and then I'm going to bring this one right down to there. Then this last one here, I'm going to bring this one down to the middle, again watching my parallel lines. And I'll go up to there, and then last but not least, I'll take this one and drop it to there. So you see this quad is running all the way down and converging with this one. This one's running all the way down and converging with that one. So let's take a look at what this looks like when we hit the 3 key. And you can see now we don't have all that information going down. We've contained it all in this little tiny region right here. Alright, so last but not least, we do have this triangle right here that we should probably deal with. And you can straighten these out if you want to. I mean, it would be kind of nice to take this information and snap it up to that one so it's nice and clean. But if we go to Mesh Tools and we go to the Insert Edge Loop tool, I can leave one right here in the middle, and then that does make a quad. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if your production pipeline can handle triangles, I'd say leave that out of there. There's nothing wrong with having a triangle right here if your production pipeline can support it. But in this case, you know, we went ahead and made sure it was all quads. We'll hit 3 again. You can see we've got a really, really clean bevel running through there and converging down there. Alright, so there's a look at a situation where we can go in and fix an area where we have a bevel and another bevel that's converging together in one point. See you in the next lesson.